Welcome again, Libra. It's September 2017. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. Thank you for joining me. Take a look at your horoscope here. We mentioned the eclipse that took place late last month. It was a big one, the Great American Eclipse. It took place in your 11th house of friendship. So that area is very strongly activated, and it still is, as you can see by Venus, the North Node, the karmic point, Mars, and retrograde Mercury, friendly planet to you, along with your planet here, all in its 11th house. But the unexpected can happen, and often does, even if it's what we see here, a trine aspect, these planets here creating a favourable influence with Uranus in your 7th house of marriage and relationships. And so therefore, it's interesting because the ruler of your 11th house, the Sun, this friendship planet, is in the 12th house in opposition to Neptune. This 6th house where Neptune is located, the place of enemies. So be careful. See here also when we have Mercury and Mars together, that can and does indicate differences of opinion and problems. So maybe this is not you directly having a problem with them, because this is a low-key position for you. Maybe you act in the position of a mediator, which is one of your best traits as a Libran. Let's take a look here with the moon moving through this area of the zodiac, the 4th house, as the month commences, in the company of Pluto. Big transformations in the home. This is a domestic area, and shows you may actually instigate some changes there. Now that may not simply be physical changes in the actual structure of the house or whatever. This is usually to do with emotional issues. The moon in the 4th house is basically an accentuation of the idea of one's mother, one's emotional past, and one's roots. And we see that the past karma point here in the 5th house, which is your children, which is your creativity, which is your inner self, makes its contact around the 4th and 5th. So therefore at this time you see also this very powerful opposition to all of these planets in the 11th house. Now how do we tie all of this in together? That's the million-dollar question. That is the problem of the astrologer, to sort of see, well, hang on, we talked about all this 11th house of friends. What's that got to do with one's family? Well, you know, sometimes family doesn't approve of friends, or friends don't approve of family. Children don't approve of your friends, or there can be some opposition between your children and their friends. So all these sorts of things are indicated. We know at least that there's a great deal of tension. And here, around this date of the 5th, we see Mercury going, see this S, both Mercury and the North Node, stationary, direct. Whereas they're in retrogression or moving in an apparent retrograde motion, they start to move forward. But for a day or so, they often stand stationary. And that's important. Again, it's ruling your 12th house of expenses, generosity, charity. This could be that you're doing some work with these people, helping them through some tough times. Moon moves into your health region in the company of Neptune around the 6th here. That also shows an opposition, a full moon here, just at the same time. 6th house, 12th house. This is health issues, hospitals. We see here Mars is involved in that. So maybe this friendship issue that we're talking about has something to do with a friend's health. You know that this is a charitable area here. This could have to do with your own health or the health of your mother or someone in your family, shown by the moon then moving into this area. Neptune, Mars are never really good opposition or hard aspect planets. They can show a bit of impotency in terms of being able to get what you want to do over the line. You can be basically sort of paralyzed. It could be someone around you that's paralyzing you, someone with power that's holding the big stick over you. That can be a bit of a frustrating period for you. But anyhow, we see that passes, as all things do. The moon moves through your 7th house. Some unexpected and probably interesting things happen right there as the moon is moving into that conjunction. Look at these. This is a grand trine. Saturn, Uranus, and Mercury here. So this is ordinarily good communication, some opportune gains. The 11th house is also gains. These are for the business people out there watching right now. 8th house is shared resources, so it does seem to have to do with money, especially around the 10th, the 11th, and then into the 12th, with the movement up here into the 9th house of long journeys, education, and also ideals. We see the tough opposition aspect around the 13th to Saturn in your 3rd house of communications. Journeys may not go so well then. It's not a good time to travel at that point. The 10th house is a nice position for you, even though the moon is getting darker, moving towards this dark, well, it's in the dark phase here. So you could feel emotionally drained, even though there's some idealism here. You've got some visions of what you want, but maybe you don't have the requisite strength. Also shown by the sun in the 12th house, by the way. Mercury and Mars giving you the need for a bit of downtime, I would say, around this time. Friendships abound. Social activities are strong when the moon moves through here, the 11th house, around the 16th. Then it moves into that conjunction with the North Node and Venus. These are normally, according to Western astrology anyhow, fortuitous. Some rather odd relationships can take place when these two planets are in the company. Believe it or not, I found a few horoscopes where there's a lot of kinky stuff going on. So be careful if you meet someone under this cycle, Libra. Interesting times, huh? Big conglomeration of planets again in this 12th house, in the sign of Virgo. The new moon takes place around the 20th, 21st. There it is, just there as it moves past the sun. The 20th in this 12th house. Well, that's a huge cluster of planets for you as well. So this is a time to be really planning and, gathering all the information you need, spending a little bit of quiet time, finding peace in yourself so that you've got the energy to move forward during this period. I like this conjunction of the moon and Jupiter just here around the 22nd, 21, 22, with the financial sector being activated by the moon in good aspect to Neptune as well from the 6th house. Good time to pay off your debts, get rid of all of those debts, and hopefully look at some additional income. Why? Because the sign of Cancer, which is your career sector, is ruled by the moon here in this area and can bring in better income. The 3rd house is good for negotiations, very serious negotiations, around the 26th and 27th, as you see the moon moving into conjunction with Saturn. That's the serious one there. Look at this then, back to pretty much where we started around the 28th, back in the home sector here, with good aspects again from Venus and Mars, very passionate about your family, and maybe actually to do with construction, getting a new place for some of you that are ready to move. The month finishes with the moon in your 5th house of love affairs and creativity again, where it pretty much began at the outset. And that's it for this month. There's only 30 days, I was about to say, and on the 31st. So look, stay tuned. In the meantime, go to astrology.com.au, subscribe here. We've got a whole lot more information there. You can always have a personal reading with myself or one of the many other practitioners that we have available for you. Till next month, take care and thanks for joining me again. Bye-bye now.